Thanks, Grace. So according to the New York Times, what Uber has been doing is identifying the accounts of public officials and law enforcement officers and attaching a small piece of code to those accounts. Now what that code does is anytime one of those people opens up the app, it either populates their little map with a bunch of phantom cars that aren't actually there, or removes all of the cars entirely. What ends up happening is that the public official, the gray-bald person, doesn't get a ride. It's been 2 weeks since the inauguration, and as you can see, the grandstands are still coming down. But are Uber's latest issues actually affecting ridership? We asked a number of American University students to find out. For the nearly 2,000 attendees at PotterCon, the event gives them a chance to relive some of the magic of their childhood. People brought hats, costumes, and even magic wands to cast their favorite spell. The Kenwood cherry blossoms are starting to bud and flower, but how will the recent cold snap affect the peak bloom? Now, even though many of the students that I spoke to said that they were concerned about Uber's latest issues and that they were reconsidering using the app, none of them specifically said that they were going to stop or switch to a competitor. Back to you guys. More than 12,000 cherry blossom trees line the streets of Kenwood in Chevy Chase, Maryland. Each year, when the trees flower, visitors come from all over the area to walk around, take pictures, and even picnic beneath the blossoms.
It's really a fairyland here because the trees form a canopy on all the streets, and you're not going to see that at the mall. As soon as the cherry blossoms are out at the tidal basin, people know enough to come here now because this is no longer a secret. And a lot of people picnic at the park. In fact, there's so many people there that the ice cream truck comes and does a very good business. I have picked up the blossoms off the street and shoved them into an envelope and mailed them to people who want to see what the cherry blossoms look like. The Kenwood cherry blossoms are starting to bud and flower, but how will the recent cold snap affect the peak bloom?
These are all budded. You can see a lot of these are tightly budded.
Well, cold is really not the best thing for trees. A lot of times, especially when we have a warm spell like we did this February, things tend to leaf out or start to really push flowers, which is kind of dangerous when you get a cold snap to come through because the cold will just burn the flowers off. We're hoping the cherry blossoms will be okay. They tend to take the cold a little bit better than some of the other plants. Worst case scenario, you lose all the flowers. The trees themselves will be fine. The flowers come out before the leaves do. It'll just be a loss of a bloom this year.
It remains to be seen how the recent snows will affect the cherry blossoms. But for the Kenwood trees and their thousands of visitors, let's hope the flowers were able to safely weather the storm. Aaron Lerner, District Wire News. Uber has been getting a lot of media attention recently. A few weeks ago, a former employee blogged about being sexually harassed in the workplace. And last week, their CEO was caught on camera berating a driver.
Now, I did not like what I saw, the way he carried on with the driver. And that part I did not like. I did see that. Uber, they cater more so to the rider than the partner or the driver.
Make a left turn on New Mexico Avenue Northwest.
Ms. Nicole said that she was pleased that Uber seemed to be protecting the drivers with grayballing, but she was concerned with Uber breaking the law.
It's definitely a blurred line, so it sort of depends on why Uber is using the technology and to what effect they're using the technology. So in cases where Uber is using the technology to keep its drivers safe or avoid harm, that is definitely a much more justifiable means, right? But in cases where Uber is using the technology specifically to evade law enforcement, we're definitely getting into some blurred territory there with obstruction of justice.
But are Uber's latest issues affecting ridership? We asked a number of American University students to find out.
It makes me reconsider it a little bit.
It does bother me a little bit.
No, it's made me reconsider for sure.
No, I will continue to use Uber.
Price matters more.